So my thinking is, I think some of the African politicians, they are getting it right. For example, let's have a look at one of these politicians who is speaking passionately on African unity. Then when we come back, we can analyze the video further. So let's have a look at this.
Our population in sub-Saharan Africa is 1.3 billion. At this population growth rate, in the next 15 to 20 years, the population of sub-Saharan Africa will double. We'll have not less than 2.6 billion human beings, which will cater for about 25% of the world population. Today, we are 16% of the world population at 1.3 billion. Where are these human beings going to be sleeping? What is it that we're doing that will enable sub-Saharan Africa to be able to provide housing for the doubled population when we cannot provide housing for 1.3 billion human beings? What are we doing in education to be able to look after a doubled population? What are they going to be eating? What about health services? Water and sanitation? These are not simple problems, but we have to understand how we arrived at this situation, at this position. This conference is diversity, and the unit that is trying to create or forge will provide answers to these problems. Without this unity, forget about solving these problems. Complex times like this require more ideas, require more principles. Not because there are no ideas in the world today, not because there are no principles in the world today, but we need more. And if more is needed, it needs more people have to be brought into this structure. We need the best of our religious leaders, the best of our religious thinkers. We need the best of our intellectuals. We need the best ideas from our traditional leaders. And indeed, we need the best from our political thinkers of all shapes. We communists are not the only revolutionaries. There are other revolutionaries other than us. And if we are to succeed in defeating this poverty, in defeating this degradation, we have to bring in other forces. We have to learn to unite with others. It's not a problem to me that we have so many political formations on the left. I have a small musical background. You cannot produce a melody, a symphony, with one instrument. But those instruments, to produce a melody, to produce a symphony, they have to be coordinated, they have to be united in a special way. Otherwise, it becomes noise. We need the Communist Party. No question about it. No compromise about it. And the Communist Party has to be a Communist Party. We need EFF. We need MKP. We need all these formations. But they have to be synchronized. They have to play their role in an organized and orderly manner. It's either we unite or we'll be defeated alone. There's no doubt about it. As Comrade Vijay has pointed out, they are brutal. Our class enemies are becoming more and more brutal. They have no care, no love for humanity. If we don't unite, we'll be defeated alone. There's no single force that will be able to get our people out of this predicament. These poverty levels are too high. They are dehumanizing. You can't have your humanity with these levels of poverty. It needs a struggle to bring us back to humanity. It's only a struggle that makes us more human. And that's why we have to struggle. As Vijay repeatedly said, we have to fight. Fidel said, if we live, we'll fight. And if we fight, we'll win.
The problem with Africa is simply and squarely the one problem of leadership. That is what Chinua Achebe of Nigeria said, that Africa has one problem, and the problem is simply and squarely one of leadership. Just take a geographical look at how Africa is operating, from the northern part to the southern part of Africa. If you look to the southern part of Africa, what is going on? Xenophobia, of which I don't refer to as xenophobia because it is just like Africans turning against each other. Okay? So it's like Afrophobia, something like that. But even though Africa is punching below her weight, I can clearly see that some of the African countries or regions, they are doing something that has to be applauded. Take a good look at what is happening in East Africa. Each and every member state of East Africa, they are using the same passport. Okay? That is a development that has to be appreciated. Go to the Sahel region. In fact, in the Sahel region, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, they are planning on how to do away with the CF franc. That is the currency that they are using currently, so that they can use one currency. That is what we want, we as Africa. Okay? We have to remove both tariffs and non-tariff barriers. That is acting as a hindrance towards our development, acting as a hindrance towards realizing our potential. At the end of the day, we are seeing Africa punching below her weight. Something that has to stop. Now, I am very pleased when I see some of African leaders, for example, the one that has just made a speech here, speaking passionately and eloquently about Africa unity, that Africa has to unite, and we have to unite immediately. Okay? Because at the end of the day, they are the same leaders who needs to show us the way. Because most of African leaders, they just value themselves and their families. So it is incumbent of us, we as Africans, to be electing leaders who are to show us the way. Leaders who love their countries. And the good example here is the president of Burkina Faso, President Traoré, doing amazing things in the Sahel region. And I am not sure if there is any African who doesn't know who Traoré is. Why? It's simple. Because Traoré is catapulting development to massive levels in Burkina Faso. Traoré assumed power in 2022. 4 years down the line, if you go to Burkina Faso has really transformed. Talk about healthcare facilities. Talk about infrastructure, and by infrastructure I mean road networks. Okay? Talk about even the military capabilities within the Sahel region, which is being powered on by Burkina Faso. Talk about research, innovation, trade, okay? And talking about research, Burkina Faso has just signed an agreement with Russia. Most of the Burkinabe researchers, they're going to Russia to study and coming back with the knowledge to showcase within their countries and to spearhead and to foster research within Burkina Faso. So if you look into that, I think we as Africans are trying to do our level best, at least to compete on a level ground as far as development in the global arena is concerned. Okay? So we also deserve a part for the role that you are playing. Some of us are talking about Africa development. So this is our contribution towards Africa. Okay? We are applauding leaders who are leading us to the right direction. This is our development towards Africa. Africa has to unite. Africa has to unite and has to unite immediately. So within Africa, we have even regions that at least they are doing good things. For example, go to East Africa. Citizens of East African community, they're now traveling on the same passport. Okay? Go to the Sahel region, good things are happening in the Sahel region. Go to Zimbabwe and Botswana, they are having massive agreements on how to do trade. But you see, even though they are doing this, I think it would be more impactful if we can do this as a continent rather than doing it as a country by country. That is a minimal achievement. So if we do it as a continent, I think it will be very better, and we have to realize our potential as fast as possible. Okay? We are not short of organizations within East Africa. We are not short of organizations within the ECOWAS region. We are not short of organization within Africa as a continent. The African Union. We have African, it was OAU, then revamped itself to African Union, which to me it's like a toothless bulldog. They say the right thing and they do the wrong thing. Or maybe the main reason why the African Union is not performing, it's because it is being funded by foreigners. 70% of African Union budget coming out from foreigners. So they are controlling what African Union is doing. So that is again the problem with Africa. But you know what? Most of African youths, they are now coming up strongly and against what is happening within Africa. And I love it when I see the youths are now engaging in politics and forming groups in order to catapult this continent to another level. Because at the end of the day, Africa must unite. Africa will unite. And if not done, then we as Africans, we are done. So thank you for hearing my sentiments here. If it's your first time here, like the video. See you next time. Bye-bye.